Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's kind of different live show. I am very excited to share with you today 5 interesting, fun facts about the very special Dr. Robyn Thompson. Hello.
Hi. I'm not
It's
sure
a bit different
about
for us,
this.
isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So I am going to kick things off, and Robyn, you were sharing with me before we went live, and I've seen pictures as well from your personal life, which I'd like to share with our lovely viewers. And you said that one of your most interesting facts you believe about yourself is your love of bikes, and you have a bit of history about this. So why don't you start with that?
Harleys. I'm a Harley girl from way back. One of my very long-time friends, Denny Helms, he used to pick me up. He was a drummer, and because I was a rock and roller as well, he used to pick me up when I was nursing and take me around as a pillion passenger on his Harley all around the suburbs and the town. And oh my God, I loved it. And I used to wear my red nurse's cape and it'd fly in the wind.
What a picture. What a picture. Literally like a superhero.
Yeah, and we're still good friends to this day. We live in different states of Australia, but he's a really good friend and has always been a good friend.
And I think you are, well, you've proven to many of us that friendship is important, and how well connected you've stayed with all of your friends, especially those loved ones that you're holding in your heart over the most recent times as well. I love looking at your pictures and your videos. But one thing I haven't seen a picture of, but I've heard you mention before, is how well traveled you are. This, I think, is going to be one of the most interesting and fun facts, because I'm sure you've got a story or two to share us. Tell us about your travels.
I'm only well traveled because of Joanne, my daughter, my boss now. She took me when I turned 40, traveling around the world with a backpack. And we first went to Japan, and lo and behold, when I got there, my son was there, he was teaching there. They sat down and reorganised my backpack and boxed a whole lot of stuff and sent it home because I took too much. So we started off in Japan and we worked through Europe and we went to the UK. Oh my goodness, we have a great time. And then I went back via Japan because Joanne was going on to other parts of the world. But it was the very first time I'd been out of the country, and then that started me non-stop from then on.
And you also did a tour around the USA, am I right, with Marie Wilson, our singer-songwriter, also my boss.
My boss, yes, Marie's my boss. And she's a well-known Australian singer-songwriter, and you can see her on YouTube. She's been amazing, written her own songs. Anyway, I had a call to say that I was going to the US with her to be her tour manager. Wow. Little did I know what I was going to be doing. I drove a 35-foot road home with a trailer on the back. We had 2 of our Melbourne musicians with us, and I drove right across the states, and only twice did I go up the wrong side of the road. Once I was coming once I was coming under a bridge and a big truck was coming towards me, flashing his lights. And so I pulled over and then I took the next exit out. Wow. And then the only other time I was in a hire car in Nashville and I was on the wrong side. So I mounted the median strip and turned the right way. I went the other way.
I wouldn't say it's an exciting story, but we don't want to promote terrible driving, so we'll
But they're the only 2 times. The rest of the time.
It sounds like your love of traveling came later on, and in that as well, you were also known as the traveling midwife. Am I right in that terminology? Yeah. Tell us a little bit more.
Because I was known as the traveling midwife because I used to travel wide and far for women. And long distances, I'd stay overnight. I'd be traveling many, many, many miles. And I do have a record of all the miles that I traveled, or kilometres now that I traveled in that time. Over the time, I kept a diary of all of that. And I also flew to Japan for the birth of my grandson. And the first grandson, he was born in Hamamatsu, and the Japanese Midwives Association were just magic. They helped me so much, and they didn't even ask me to register at the time. And I had so much support. So Joshy was born at home with his mum and his dad, and my goodness, what an amazing experience for me to go that far. Mm. And then I was the younger one, who's only 18 months younger. He was born in Melbourne, Australia, and his other grandma flew over for his birth, and my daughter-in-law.
And I know that you're very close with your family. In fact, I saw Josh just before
no,
our
you
live
saw
stream.
Kai.
I saw Kai. So that's the younger grandson.
He's the younger. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I know how close you are, and I'm sure that story is one that you hold close to your heart. So very well travelled, and I can imagine you were quite naughty and mischievous on your travels as well. I'm sure you made many friends. You're making a face now, the viewers can't see that.
What do you mean by naughty? I've always been naughty. My mum told me that because I was born breech baby with my feet in my mouth, toes in my mouth, and I came bottom first with the best hamstrings you have ever seen, and they're still pretty good now.
Yes, they are. Well, that leads us into the next one. So your love of dancing. I have seen you boogie, and you do know how to cut some shape.
Boogie. I think it's rock and roll.
Oh, I'm not rock and roll enough, Robyn. And you also have a huge passion for Elvis. You love Elvis and anything rock and roll. And it is a delight to see you both dance and listen to Elvis at the same time. That's probably one of my favorite videos of you ever.
Yeah, well, that's when I started with my dear friend Robyn, another Robyn, and we started probably when we were 12 or 13, going to a friend's house, and their mum, 2 boys, their mum used to have our lunch for us, and we had every Sunday, rocking and rolling. My mum used to make my petticoats and my skirts, and I had bobby socks and runners, and we had the best time, and we still do have the best time. She actually travelled to the UK with me on one of my times when I was speaking at Huddersfield. And then we went to Europe after that too. So we had a ball. And Robyn and I have been friends all of those years, and we're still good friends now. And yes, we were the rock and rollers of the past, the young ones. And I still love it. And if I can, I go to the Elvis Festival here in Parks in New South Wales. It's been held over because of the recent flu epidemic or pandemic, whatever they want to call it. And yes, but I think the last one was a 50-year celebration, but I've had some lovely times there, and yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it.
Wow. Yeah. My mum is also a huge Elvis fan. I mean, who isn't? I think even my children know a few of his songs.
I can't help myself with Marie's songs either. Her songs are brilliant. So I do have a love for all of that sort of thing.
You do love your music and your dancing, and you're good at staying active as well. I've seen one of your videos from a few years ago where you were working hard, putting us all to shame with your personal trainer. And you're very strong.
Oh, you saw me with the weights and the
that's right.
I want to go back. I desperately want to go back to Garnet, but she's out on a farm, which is beautiful, but I have had a lot of back problems, so I'm a bit hesitant at the moment to be able to do that, you know. So, but I desperately want to go back,
especially with physicalities. But you always stay active, and I think that's definitely something that I love about you, for sure. And also, tell us a little bit about you. So you're not only Dr. Robyn Thompson, you are mum of 4, am I right?
No, mother of 3.
Mother of 3, my apologies. Mother of 3, breastfed all of them. Young nurse.
No, hang on. Let's correct that.
Please do.
I'm a mother of 2. I'm a mother of 2 beautiful adults now. My 3rd baby was stillborn, so I had the experience of having a stillbirth, and that was a difficult time. However, once I was able to write the story and present it at a major conference, I was able to deal with that much better. But you know, I have two children that I have 2 adult children who actually lead me on the journeys that I go on. Joanne's very, very good at doing what we are doing right now.
Yes, she is very, very good. And actually, the video where you do talk about the loss of your precious angel baby is it's very heartfelt, and it talks about how that links to your passion on helping women not be separated from their babies, which is a big part of the Thompson Method. And it's really sad actually to read all of the comments on that video and how many women experienced similar in the same era, but also now it's still happening. Not as much, thankfully, but it still happens now, which is really, really heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's still happening. It will happen, because, you know, that's the way. We can't be, there's never 100% guarantee for anything. So as much as we do our very best, you can't avoid those sort of things happening sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes,
Yeah. Well, as you said, sharing your experience helped in part of healing your trauma. So hopefully that encourages other women to do the same as well. So thank you.
And I do work with a lot of women that way, and I do a lot of debriefing with women as well. So
absolutely. And I think another very interesting fact about you is how inquisitive you are, how curious you are. You are the one of the people that I know that constantly asks questions. You're always asking why, and that actually is the foundation of the Thompson Method. Why were so many women leaving the hospital system with existing nipple trauma and breastfeeding complications? So thank goodness you are so inquisitive.
Yes, asking questions is very, very important, because if I don't know why, I have to go find out why, or, you know, I have to work it so I understand why. And my brain does that all the time. It's asking why. And so I, you know, and if I do have to respond to something, I often respond by asking questions too, depending on what the response might be. But certainly my brain is one of those brains that has to know why. And yes, that led me to understanding why so many women had painful nipple trauma, terrible injuries to their nipple, their breast. And, you know, I can't even begin to tell you all the things that I have seen over my time. It's just incredible. And it's just even worse now than it's ever been, the way women are being treated. So I'm on the ball. I'm really on the ball. I'm here to protect women. I'm here to work with them. I'm here to protect my colleagues, to make sure they're okay as well. You know, as you creep on through life, you really do need to think about what your role really is and where do you best fit. And I've been so privileged to be the midwife I have been, to be nursing, to be doing midwifery, to be doing maternal and child health, to have qualifications that I never even dreamt of having. So setting up birth centres that I never even dreamt of being involved in, putting in spa baths so women could have their babies in water. And you know what? It's actually been quite degraded over the last, I don't know, I think it's diminished over the last 50 years. And I'm really worried about the constant situation that I have at the moment, with beautiful women telling me some horrific stories, and it's all recorded. It's recorded in the history they've written for themselves, and it's recorded in our session together. And it's not used without their consent ever. It's given back to them so they can review it themselves. But it is a difficult time. It's difficult for me because I don't cope well with women being harmed. In my experience, it's the word harm. You know, the trauma that some of them tell, and a good number of them. And I don't know, in the UK, I believe the same thing's happening. I get calls from the US, the UK, but from here, you know, it's definitely on the rise, things I've never seen before as a midwife.
I think there seems to be a generalized sort of rule within midwifery that they are almost obstetric nurses really nowadays, most of them, where they are obviously held down by their policies, procedures, their job role, but also there's the rush of the system, which you talk quite often about within the principles of the Thompson Method. And yeah, we do hear some really harrowing stories and some really heartbreaking things that have happened to women that they will carry with themselves in trauma for the rest of their lives, which really should not be happening. And it's a shame, really, that things haven't improved over the past 5 decades, and rather they've gotten worse, which you know, poses questions.
I feel really sad for some of my colleagues, because I don't think they want to do what they're doing, but there's a lot of questions that go with that, you know. I don't think there's enough mentoring, there's not enough caring about the people who
staff, is there?
Who's looking after the people, who is looking after the people that provide the care? You know, we don't know, do we? It's not happening, and that's really, for me, heartbreaking, because we have always had somebody to mentor us that was experienced, and then people doing things to women's bodies that are not experienced as well.
So, and unfortunately, politics does play a part, and usually that is statistically a man who has and never will give birth, and usually doesn't have any sort of knowledgeable connection with the area as well, which is, well,
there's more and more females in the obstetric world now, and some of them are brilliant. But yes, the obstetricians that I worked with 50 years ago and on are totally different to what the women are telling me now. Now, I'm not there with those people, working with them, and probably I would have something to say if I was. But it's a very difficult time for everybody. And I think insurance has done a big damage to the professionals not being able to even communicate with each other properly sometimes. I think it's divided us. And where once upon a time we were together, and we were always there for the woman that we were providing our care for or our service for.
And of course, there seems to be a generalized lack of knowledge of natural physiological birth, like you've said previously in one of our chats, practicing on dolls, the lack of seeing real births happen in front of you. And then, of course, understanding the difference between a genuine emergency as well, and the coercion and the fear that comes around induction, and the increase of rates there as well. I mean, we could go on about this for hours, couldn't we? And we have done in the past. And all those things really do give you the umbrella of what I see as your main attribute, and to me, something that has touched us personally in our lives as a family, is your care and love for us women, us birthing.
And, you know, if I hadn't had the comparison of my years of experience and my home birthing years, 25 years, with beautiful women who taught me so much, absolutely so much, about their ability to do what they did and do it so well, I wouldn't really understand the situation that women were in now. But having had that, and I listen to these women and I cry with them, because it's just, sometimes it's very devastating, and the emotional trauma is just terrible. However, the question for me is, how do we fix it? What can we do to fix this? It has to stop. We have to care for the carers, and we have to really, our duty of care is to be with these wonderful women. And we have to work that duty of care so that we are following it to the absolute maximum perfection. That's what I believe.
And let's hope that we do. Let's hope that we do see a turnaround, and that more women are able to begin advocating for themselves and continue that right path.
Yeah.
So those are some really interesting facts about you. They're very fun, and I can only imagine how much fun you had traveling with your daughter, with Joanne. She's a crack, that's for sure. I think I might have this right, but correct me if I'm wrong.
What did you say?
She's a crack. She's a crack. A good crack.
I hope she hears this.
I'm sure she'll get my lingo.
I had 2 beautiful births. My stillborn baby was difficult, but my 2 children that are adults now, I had the most beautiful birth. So I was lucky. I mean, I had to do a bit of, you know, back off a bit to the people that were around me at the time. But, you know, that was the strength that I didn't even know I had either. So, yeah.
Yeah, we do often surprise ourselves, don't we? Especially when we first hold our precious little ones, for sure. Yeah. But do correct me if I'm wrong, Robyn. Dr. Robyn did some relative work with the Aborigine community. Is that right?
No, I haven't.
Not work necessarily, but some experiences?
I actually went out on country with a family that were out there who were teaching there, and I met some beautiful, beautiful First Nations people there, and I actually met a beautiful traditional midwife who I sat on the veranda with her, and she told me some amazing stories. I'll never forget that. My grandson, was with me, and the Aboriginal man in charge of the community, he looked after him like you would not believe. He had experiences as a young child that he would never have had if we hadn't have gone out there. And so I was very privileged to be able to do that. And so I've had amazing privileges with women, beautiful women. But yes, I did travel. In my travelling, that's one thing I didn't mention, is I travelled to Darwin for a woman who couldn't have a midwife at the time because of the politics that was going on, was crazy. So I decided, well, once I looked at my diary that I could do it, rang back and said yes. And she was over, and we are still good friends to this day. In fact, she rang me yesterday. So her children have grown up. She's homeschooled them. They're absolutely 4 beautiful children. And I was there for the 3 of them, and my midwife colleague was with me for the second one for just a short time because of the politics that was going on at the time. Well, that's all past now, like politics does, changes with the wind. Well, and then I had the privilege of being invited back for another, and I was 10 births all, and so I'd fly between Melbourne and Darwin. And then also I was working with my dear colleagues, absolutely wonderful, Meryl and Mo Davey, and I would work with them in the home birth service, which was outside the hospital system, away from it, which was good, not attached to the hospital system, the community home birth service. And I worked with them and used to go home birthing with them. So, you know, very privileged time.
Oh, how I wish you were my midwife. How amazing that would be. And I know that many of our team and our followers and our community have said the same, but this is just a very small insight onto the very wonderful woman. That is the behind the Thompson Method, the movement that we now know as the Thompson Method. And I hope that that's given you a little bit of insight. Of course, let us know if you have any questions. I'm sure Dr. Robyn would be pleased.
I could tell some naughty stories, but I don't think it's appropriate here.
I think we might get in trouble if you share some naughty stories.
Yeah, I think I will be in trouble. Yeah.
She's always a crack, like I said before. She's always a good laugh, and we don't take things too seriously here unless it's necessary. So I hope that you can see.
Oh, yeah.
Hope you can see that. But thank you so much.
Our heart and soul is with the women, right? It has to be, we have to be respectful, we have to be listening, observing quietly, not in her space unnecessarily, that's her space. And we need to be able to understand her by talking with her, not talking to her, not standing over her. We need to be sitting beside her as much as we possibly can.
Absolutely. And I mean, everything you say, everything that you do is with such passion and love. And I know that our viewers see that. So I suppose today is a little bit different in terms of seeing a bit more of your personal life, which I'm sure is nice. But that doesn't change the fact that you always have your heart of gold, and you wear it on your sleeve. So I think it's important to share that.
Thank you. Thank you.
I
appreciate it. I really do.
Well, thank you for sharing some very personal experiences and facts about yourself.
Can you hear the pinging?
No, I can't. Are you about to get in trouble, are you?
No, there's a message, Marie's.
She's saying, don't say any more.
No, she's reorganising my trip to my beautiful friend's funeral in Sydney and then on to Perth. So I was already booked to go to Perth. And I'm speaking somewhere, I'm not sure what all the plans are, and because it's all organised for me. And then my dear friend of nearly 40 years passed, and she passed peacefully, which is beautiful, with her son and her daughter beside her. and I'm flying to Sydney to be with her last moments, saying goodbye.
Oh, that's beautiful. I'm really glad that you're able to. I know that there was a time a few years ago where we were all stopped our travels and we weren't allowed to do that. I'm really glad that borders are open and you can say goodbye. I know she was very close to your heart. So
beautiful midwife in this country, well known and you know, much respected. Jan Robinson was her name, Janine Robinson. And much loved amongst all of us, and we've all been good friends, and we all support each other, and we've done that for years.
And that smile says it all. Thank you so much, Robyn. From myself, it's always an honor working with you, but also from everyone else watching, thank you so much.
Thank you, Chelsea. Much